and start.
Hi, girls.
And now we are recording. I'm going to share.
We can't hear you, Miss Maddie.
You can't hear me? No? Nobody can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Everybody else can?
Yeah. I was wondering why you kept talking.
Sorry.
Okay. Just to confirm, thumbs up if you guys can hear me. I just want to make sure before. Okay. Before we go on, don't want to get through the whole thing and find out that nobody can hear me. Not that I don't love spending time with each and every one of you, but we are recording and I'm going to share my screen so we can go ahead and get started.
I'm going to shine on. Don't leave me alone.
Oops, that's what I meant to do. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I can still let people in. Okay. All right. So welcome to our preschool and lower division parent orientation. We are going to cover some things that are just reminders, some things that are new things for everybody. So we're going to be respectful of your time. We do have the middle and upper division one right after this. The reason we scheduled the two separate ones is because we do have a max for our Zoom allowance. So we're only allowed a certain number of people, and with the whole school that we would meet that max. But also because the questions that preschool and lower division families have are all very different than what families from middle and high school have. So make sure that everybody's muted here. There we go. So an introduction, in case you don't remember me or don't know me, I'm Maddie Valdivia and I'm our director of operations. I also do all of our billing and I do some marketing and some other little things here and there. But I know just through the admissions process or just from, knowing you as a family. So also on this call, we have Melanie Humanansky, our head of school. Miss Bailey's on the call. And I'm gonna go through our entire administrative team, just as a reminder for all families. If you have questions throughout this, please feel free to enter it in the chat. Either somebody who knows the answer will respond to you or we'll get to them at the end. Sometimes it helps just to jot those things down when it's right in your mind. We might, cover some of those things throughout the presentation, but it would be good if you could just put it in the chat. And then at the end, we will have a Q&A. So if you do want to, talk voice to voice, as long as time permits, we will have that Q&A session. As a reminder, these are the members of our administrative team. We have a couple new people here. So we have Melanie Humanansky, who is our head of school. Many of you know her and love her. She's been here for a long time. And we have Ross, who is our dean of students and athletic director. He has joined us this year, along with his wife, Lindsay, who will be one of our second grade teachers. We have Andy, who is the dean of administration. She is over all things preschool, and she also has to do with lower division as well. Christina Stenholm, our guidance counselor, mostly our middle and upper division families will know her. Gigi Cooper or Gliselle Cooper, she's our director of development. She does not work here on campus. She does work off campus and she's available by email. So if you do ever have things that come up throughout the year, feel free to email her. She is on campus every once in a while, but just not on a regular basis. Then there's me. Then we have Sarah Lockhart, our administrative assistant. Everybody knows and loves Sarah. She has been the only one in the office to have a new addition, and we're very excited. Marlo McNamara, actually last year was our K4 aide, and she's also a parent to Daniel, who was in first grade last year, and she is joining us in our office. So she will be partnering with Sarah to provide administrative help for all of our admin team and to help parents and work with parents on different issues. So we want to welcome both her and Shane to our office and know that they will have a really great year. Next. Kevin Donlin is the chair of the board of trustees for our school board. One thing that we have committed to doing is making sure all of our parents know about our school board and know that our school board members are available to you. You can communicate with them. There's a whole page on our website that has some detailed information about them, as well as how to contact them. That's something, just being open and transparent is really important to us. And so just know that, that Kevin is always available to speak with you if you need. Oops. Our vision and our mission and our Bible verse for this year. This is always something to just take a minute and regroup about. We like to remind everybody why we're here and why we do what we do, because we're very passionate about it. And I frankly think we're very good at it. So we have our vision. We are shaping young people in Christ to make an impact in the world. Our mission, Bayshore Christian School challenges, develops, and empowers students for leadership by following the example of Jesus to grow in wisdom, stature, and in favor with God and man, which of course comes from the passage in Luke 2:52. And then our Bible verse for our 50th anniversary year, the 2021-2022 school year. The Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. It's just a wonderful reminder. The Facts Family Portal. So the returning families, I think you've probably had your share of time in the family portal, and the new families, we kind of went through that new family orientation. So just a reminder to log into your family portal. That is where you can check grades and attendance and things like that. That's where you order lunches. One that I wanted to, hold on, people keep entering the waiting. One thing that I wanted to just highlight is the differences for parents between the Facts Family Portal and Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is our hub, and I do have a little page about this. I might cover it now, but the Microsoft Teams is the hub for students who in 2nd through 12th grade. It's our learning management system, which means they have logins to that. They can log in, they can turn in homework. That's where their assignments will be. Has a lot of great daily information that they need as they go throughout their day. Kindergarten and 1st grade will use Microsoft Teams in the case of virtual learning. So it is something that our elementary families need to know about. The Facts Family Portal, it used to be our primary way of communicating lesson plans, assignments, grades, everything like that. So now the information, if it's duplicated and in both information and in both sections, in Facts and in Teams, it's going to be listed in Facts. But if it's only listed in Teams, then when you log into Facts, it will say, see Microsoft Teams. We are trying to streamline our process as much as possible. As a parent, you do not have a Teams account just specifically for our students. So just note that that is, kind of keep track of what's going on in Teams, you'll need to have your child's iPad and take a look. Please do keep track of your child's team account to know what's going on coming up next. But also know that the Facts Family Portal is an important resource for you, and you can find a great deal of information. Just sometimes in the kind of streamlining of everything that we're doing, we're trying to most of our assignments listed in Teams, and we're also trying to access for our teachers. That's really important because it is a lot of work to create those lesson plans and to share them in both locations. So we're trying to work through things, but I just wanted you to be aware, if it says in the Facts Family Portal, see Microsoft Teams, then you'll hop over to that on your child's device to be able to monitor what's going on, okay? Next. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I just said on my little screen there. We will, like I said, use Microsoft Teams in kindergarten grade if we have to go to virtual. Microsoft Teams is a very easy app. I'm sure many of you actually probably use it for work and you're familiar with it. So if you do have questions, we are compiling resources for parents. Based on last year, we had a lot of experience with it, and we kind of just started compiling all those resource documents that are actually on the family resources page, and we'll probably have even more as we go through the school year. Communication, just an important reminder, subscribe to our calendar on the website. It's at the very top, it says calendar. has its own page. You can subscribe to different events, all the events. So take a look at that. We will always keep that up to date to the best of our ability. Obviously, we have communication that goes in the Facts Family Portal. Text alerts, please make sure that when you log in, there is a way to turn off your text alerts, but please don't do that. We use those parent alerts to tell you about important things like school closings or last minute reminders and important details. We try not to overuse it, but it's a fine line. Over communicating, are we communicating enough? You know, what's that happy medium? And unfortunately, not every family has the same idea of what would be the perfect level of communication. So we do try to run that line where we're giving you enough information so that you feel in the loop. I know I receive 1,000 emails a day, and it's hard to keep track of everything nowadays when you get emails. Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that email. I did see that email that my child's teacher sent me. Totally forgot about it because after that I got, 20 more emails, but it's really an important communication tool that we use. Speaking of emails, you will receive emails from your child's teacher, from the division coordinators in the form of a weekly update. So keep in mind, when you see that email that comes through, it's a weekly update, please just read it. Sometimes it's repetitive. Sometimes it's, I know if you have children in different divisions, you're getting different emails, but we're trying our best to make sure that you have all that updated information. And social media, of course, on our Facebook and Instagram, follow us so you can keep up to date with all of those things too. We don't put every single thing on social media, but we do try to use it really well as a communication tool. PTFW, our Parent Teachers Faith Warriors, they will have a sign up list in either the gym or the Red Top when we have open campus on Monday. So please note, we have a couple positions available. We have vice president and we have the fundraising chair. We would love to have you involved in that. So please contact our PTFW. Their email address is ptfw@bayshorechristianschool.org. And they wanted me to note that you can still donate the used uniforms at the open campus. So if you have anything, just get them together, bring them to that table at open campus, and we'll take care of laundering them and getting them ready for the fundraising sale that we do here in the office. All right, Gigi, I saw that you joined. I know you're here somewhere.
I'm here.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. Good evening, everyone. Just to preface, I will be obviously at Open Campus 2, and development and fundraising will have a table. So we'll be able to chat a little bit more if you have questions at Open Campus as well in the gym. Just a little bit about what development does. Basically, every kind of fundraising initiative that we have will typically go through me for Bayshore Christian School. And probably our biggest one, and the one that we're most excited about this year, will be our third annual fund. The annual fund is our biggest fundraiser of the year for Bayshore Christian School, and it's an opportunity for our families to kind of leave their legacy, leave their mark every year and donate to our campaign. So our campaign is pretty much unrestricted. It is for general operating budgets for our school. We pride ourselves in having 100% of our teachers and faculty giving back to the campaign. And we also pride ourselves in having 100% of our families giving back. So last year we had, I believe, over a 37% increase year over year of families that started donating to our campaign. And it's wonderful. We were able to truly help fund our iPad initiative. Last year we raised over $71,000. So all these dollars go back to your students. Which is wonderful. We were able to now have iPads for students, as you'll now know, and from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So that was just last year's. This year we have another piece that we're going to be bringing in from a marquee. We're praying that goes through, and that's pretty much almost a $40,000 investment that we have for our school. But it's a wonderful opportunity that we can share messaging to our families, to our students. We do our birthday shout outs. We do announcements of games and activities. And then we have new desks that are coming in to a great portion of our lower division, as well as to some classrooms in middle school and high school. So all of these dollars go towards that. As you see here, Maddie made this beautiful little slide for me. We talked about this. It's truly no amount is too small or too large. Last year, we had an amazing, generous donation. They really wanted to see us reach our mark. So they said, you know what? We pledged to donate whatever's left over and whatever's needed in order to meet your goal. And we surpassed our goal. So it was a true blessing that we had last year, but very easy to do. You can text annual to that phone number at the bottom. You will be getting weekly emails from me for the first 2 months. I promise not to bug you too much, but it is just, there's an aggressive marketing to this for the first 2 months so we can get our families involved. But it is monthly that you can donate. You can make a one-time donation. It's very easy via our fax giving platform. And again, I will be at Open Campus on Monday. I'm very excited to meet our new families and see some old families back on campus. So I'll be able to kind of shed some light on that. And then of course, at the end of the year in the spring, we have our spring gala and we are hosting it at Palmacia Golf and Country Club this year again, or next year, shall I say. So lots of opportunities to give back to the school. We love promoting our family small businesses. So if you have a business that you want to promote on campus, on our website, on social media, contact me. We can definitely work something out and make sure that your donation is obviously going back to our students, but we want to give you that recognition too. So I'll leave it at that so I won't bombard you because I'm sure you're getting plenty of information tonight. So if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to email me as well. My email at the school is gcooper@baysshorechristianschool.org. And you can find that information under support BCS on our website as well. So I hope that kind of covered everything that we do here in development, but I look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thank you, Gigi. All right. Moving on, we want to go over what drop off and pickup will look like. So I have these details now just to orient you. And I know our new families, we went over this at our new family orientation. Returning families, you already know what to do because guess what? We're going to be doing the same thing that we did last year. I know a lot of people were looking forward to everything going back to how it was before. But honestly, actually, a lot of you parents actually really loved Carline. So because you didn't have to get out of the car and you could stay in the nice air car while we brought your children to you, like a concierge service. It's really wonderful. So we're going to be doing that again this year. On this map, the bottom left, where it says entrance, that's the big gate. And obviously, you know, this is our parking lot. So you'll come in through the big gate, wrap all the way around. We will still stick to preschool and elementary being dropped off by the breezeway. Middle and upper division, they can go up to the red top entrance, and we will most likely have that fence open. We had created this map before we had finalized all of the details last year, but you will, if you're in that right lane, you will be able to go out that the gate that's in front of the office. So that is the plan. And I will tell you why we decided that. I mean, there's many reasons, but the focus actually is on kind of what's best for the students actually. I was a childcare director for a really long time. And I know that the people that this affects most are those preschool families and especially new families. But I helped probably thousands of children actually adjust to going to school or changing schools, because that was my job as a preschool director. And I always said to my parents that the transition doesn't start until the parent leaves the room. And that was kind of hard, but it was hard for parents. It was hard for the students at first, but what we learned last year in Carline was actually the kids did so much better. We did not have the crying children like we've had before, you know, and there's always that a little bit at the beginning because the students are new and it's a new classroom and it's a new teacher. But the drop-off process was so much more smooth for the students and the teachers. But that is why we're really gunning for that this year again. So to give back, because I know some of you were expecting to be able to park and walk, here just a reminder of the drop-off time. So for preschool and lower, last year we had extended that 7:45 to 8:15 for preschool and lower, if you'll remember that. We did that because we were doing temp checks, which we at this time are not planning on doing for drop-off. And we did that verbal COVID screening. I know you all remember it well. Any symptoms? Any symptoms or exposures? That was my favorite thing. I was saying it in my sleep. We all were last year. So now, because we're not doing those temp checks, we're not doing the verbal COVID screening, we hopefully will have things going much more quickly. So preschool and lower division, we're going back to our standard arrival time of 8 to 8:15. Middle and upper division students will be from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. The parents will stay in the vehicle. Please note the X's on the map. Please don't drop off your child in the middle of the parking lot. Whenever there are children or people walking and cars, it's a dangerous situation, and we want to make sure that everybody stays safe. So please follow the rules and stay in the line that's closest to the school, and also that middle lane. Now you'll note two things off to the side on my presentation. We are going to do a preschool drop-off practice where you can park and walk in on Tuesday, August 10th, the day before school starts. So this is kind of our give back to you, because we know that during the school year, we know you want to get out and walk your child to his first or her first day of preschool. I totally get it. Trust me, I'm a mom too. But in order to kind of start the year off right on that first day of school, August 11th, all parents will stay in the vehicle. That day before, we are going to have a little drop-off practice for you. We will send a sign-up genius because we are doing some crowd control with COVID. We want to make sure we don't have everybody at the same time. So preschool families, please be on the lookout for that email. And also lower division, we are going to have an in-person open house after school starts on Tuesday, August the 17th, where you will be able to park and you'll be able to come in and talk to your child's teacher and kind of see how that first week went and ask some questions. Obviously, you may come to open campus and feel like you don't need to come to that, but we want to give you that option. We want to give you some opportunities to come onto the campus in a safe way and hopefully be able to make that connection with your child's teacher. Right, open campus. We are very excited that we actually get to have an in-person open campus this year. Last year we did the drive-in, we did the drive-through. It was fine. We all really missed the regular open campus, which is just a really fun kickoff to the school year. So the timings are listed here. Preschool and lower division will be able to come from 4 to 5:30. You do not have to be here for the entirety of the time that it lists. You can come in at the beginning. You can come in for the last half hour. Again, with crowd control, we will be keeping account of how many people are in the room, try not to have everybody stuffed into one room. There are also other things you can do just besides the classroom. So obviously dropping off supplies, that's going to be a huge thing. So you don't have to bring that on the first day of school. Meeting the teachers, we'll have an amazing food truck, Mr. C's grilled cheese. So I know some of you will be doing that. And then depending on weather, we have either an area in the gym or on the red top where we will have different vendors, or that's where our PTFW table will be. We will have our coaches there to talk about athletics, which doesn't necessarily apply to preschool, but remember that TB Cal starts in 4th grade. So that is an opportunity for our 4th through 8th graders to be involved in athletics. Barksdale Catering, our caterer, will be there. Gigi will be there at her development table, giving you information if you'd like it. And then we'll have some of our after school care vendors. So with that said, remember also that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, that our spirit store will be open and that the used uniforms will be for sale here in the office. Past open campuses, we've had it for sale in the gym or wherever we were, but we have so many and it's really impractical to move them. So it will be available here in the office. Again, because of this group sizing, we don't and it's not a really big room. Just keep that in mind. Maybe if you come and there's people here already waiting, maybe go do one of the other activities that we have and come back. And we'll be around each other making it work. So, all right, let's move on. All right, so now getting into some of the nitty gritty. Again, we're about halfway through, so I know we'll be done within the hour, but I wanted to focus on a couple things. Our preschool and lower division handbook, as well as our middle and upper division handbook, are located on the website. As a parent, you are responsible for knowing what is in there. So it's important to kind of review that at the beginning of the year. It actually has a lot of answers to really good, important questions that we get asked all the time. So it's a great resource for families. And so I encourage you to read that. One thing that we are going to be working on this year. So last year, okay, it was a crazy year. And we gave a lot of grace when it came to tardies and absences. We had to. I mean, it was not a top priority, to be tracking things. We were opening for in-person school in the middle of a global pandemic. So we were kind of focused on a lot of different things, but we are going to be once again implementing and really tracking tardies and absences. One thing that we're putting into place that we haven't had before is an automated email system. So when you get to a certain number of tardies or a certain number of absences, both the parents and depending on the age, will receive an email letting you know you've already had, I believe the first threshold is like 3 tardies or 3 absences, or maybe 5. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in the handbook. So you'll receive that email and then you'll be able to get another one when you're at that next threshold, and it will be an automated system that will help you keep track of how many absences or tardies you might have, or your child might have. We do, again, ask you to read that handbook and understand the absences and tardies. We have had a lot of confusion about what is excused versus unexcused. So in the past, we, again, gave a lot of grace where if you called and said, hey, my child's out sick. Oh, he's sick. Okay, that's an excused absence. However, now the only thing that will be an excused absence or an excused tardy will be something with a doctor's note. So if, prime example, my child didn't sleep very well last night, so I'm going to let him sleep in. We get that far more often than I would have ever thought possible. But if that's the case, then that is an unexcused tardy for your child when he or she comes in, unless for some reason you have a doctor's note for that. So we hear 1,000 different reasons for children to be late and to be absent. And some of those things are within your control and some of them are without, and that's fine. This is your child's school and school is a priority. And we want to be very open and transparent about what is excused versus unexcused. So excused comes with a doctor's note, okay, for tardies or absences. Otherwise, for any other reason, it is unexcused. You hit traffic on the expressway, I'm sorry, but it's unexcused. You got back late from Disney last night and decided to let him sleep in. I'm sorry, that's unexcused. So I just, that we're very open and honest and we want to have a great relationship with you. So please know that ahead of time and just know what to expect for this year. One of the other things, and we are going to get into a little bit more with COVID later, is that if your student is called out sick or sent home sick, a doctor's note is required for him or her to return. Black and white. We also ask that absences be reported to the office. Sometimes parents have such a great relationship with their teacher that you go and you're like, oh, he's going to be out today. Oh, great. But the teacher doesn't have any idea that we don't know. And so we want to just have that relationship specifically between the office and parents. Of course, you can email your child's teacher and let him or her know that your child's not going to be there, but absences also need to be reported to the office. That's kind of the hub for how we track all of attendances. So please contact us. And that is, I think, the school number, and I think it's extension 300, or you dial 0. It tells you when you call what to dial for that. And then medication requirements. One thing is just a really important reminder. Please do not put medication in your child's backpack. I think unless it's an EpiPen or an asthma inhaler, I think those can be in the classroom or close to where the students are. But please do not send, ibuprofen or Pepto-Bismol or whatever in your child's backpack. That is not safe. And so any medications that are brought in need to be in the office. There needs to be a signed form for it. We have those here in the office, so you can stop by a drop off and you can sign that. And we'll all be on the same page with it, but we want to make sure we kind of nip that in the bud before school starts. Uniform reminders. Lower division, please remember the tops and bottoms are Lands' End only. You may think that the navy shorts that you bought at Target look just like Lands' End, but guess what? We know they're not. So that's one thing that we've gotten really good at, is knowing what's Lands' End and what's not. So please make sure that the tops and bottoms are Lands' End, unless you happen to be one of those new families who is ordered and it's back ordered. Then of course they may wear those generic uniforms until the Lands' End ones come in. The re-enrollment t-shirt for our parents, our families, our students who re-enrolled by the deadline, that re-enrollment shirt can be once per week, any day. So yes, that does mean for middle and high school, who I know are not on this, but once per week, any day. Spirit shirts can be worn on the last day of the week. So why doesn't it say Friday? Occasionally we have holidays on Friday. So that means that Spirit Day would be on Thursday. Outerwear for kindergarten through 12th grade, outerwear is Lands' End only. So Lands' End fleeces are available. We encourage you to now, if you can, that way maybe by the time it gets cold, it'll be here. The only children who can wear outerwear that is not Lands' End are preschool and K2, K3, and K4. And this is just kind of a reminder that your student is growing. He or she is growing taller. It's kind of embarrassing for us to have to say your child's skirt is too short. Please get another one. So please just be conscious of that they are playing on the playground. They are running around in the gym. It's important that they have clothing that fits them. I know sometimes you order things and they're late and it's Lands' End, it takes a couple weeks. I get that. We just want to bring that up and make sure that you're aware. Please just kind of keep an eye on it, okay? Before and after school care, I am going to be sending out a form. I know a lot of our preschool and elementary families use before and after school care. So you're anxiously awaiting, how do you secure your spot? I know you, I've already gotten your emails. So we're actually going to do the enrollment process a bit differently. We're planning on a web form. So I haven't created it yet. So I'm going to create it and I'm going to send you the link for how to register for both before school care and after school care. Remember, both of those, I'm really specifically talking about the monthly ones, the people who are always going to be using that before school care and always going to be using that after school care. We are proud that we are able to offer before school care again. So that will go from 7 to 7:45. At 7:45, we will close down before school care and take your children to their class. If your child is dropped off in the breezeway before 7:45, you are going to get a before school care charge. So please drop your child off at the correct time between 8 and 8:15. Prior to that, prior to 8 o'clock, we don't have teacher supervision, so we have no chance but to have them with the before school people. So just note, before school care is 7 to 7:45. If your child's there before 7:45, it is, I think it's $15 per day, okay? After school care, it is again going until 6 p.m. We may reevaluate this. When we have had it at 6 p.m. before, we rarely have people after 5:30. So right now it's at 6 p.m. We'll kind of evaluate and see how many people still need after school care. So there are many families that are still working, or many parents that are still working from home. So we're just going to need to evaluate that once the program begins. And again, I'll have a form for that coming soon. All right. Oh, I know this is why you guys were all logged in here, because you want to talk about COVID. So as you know, this is literally, it changes every second, right? And depending on the news that you watch and the data that you see, we're getting a lot of different information. It kind of reminds me of last summer, you know? And so we are, last year we had a big reentry plan and we posted it on our website, and it had decision trees. And that was an important part of actually what we use the reentry plan for. If I have been exposed, if my child has been exposed, what do we do? If my child was wearing a mask, what do we do? There's 1,000 different eventualities for every situation that we encountered last year. So our decision trees are we're kind of finalizing them now. And our goal is to share those with you on Friday. So it's not exactly an entire reentry plan like we had. I think that thing was like 30 pages long, but it will be good information for you to know as parents. What do we do? Okay, so you're home on the weekend and somebody was exposed. You can pull up this decision tree and know kind of what to plan for. Last year, it was so black and white, right? Everything was locked down. It was a little bit easier for us to decide that everybody wears a mask, no parents on campus. It was fairly black and white, but then with the immunization that came about, now everything is gray again. And what happens if somebody has been immunized? What happens if they've been exposed? And so and again, it really depends on the news outlet that you see, and the data seems to be kind of a little bit everywhere. And we're again being bombarded with all this information. So we're accredited by the Florida Council of Independent Schools, and they have great resources that they've been gathering for independent schools in Florida. And so that has been a source of a good connection for us, actually. And I think there is a webinar tomorrow that Melanie is going to be on, Ms. Humanansky, our head of school, to kind of gather some more information and just see if we're on the right track. We've already been thinking about what we're going to do. The question, are you going to wear masks? What we can say is that if masks are not required, this is something for you to think about as a parent, okay? I have 2 kids. They're in elementary and middle school, 4th and 7th grade. It's a little bit different than having a preschool child, and it's a little bit different than having an older child who can get the immunization. So we're all kind of in these different stages of parenting. But the reality is, if your child's not wearing a mask while he or she is at school, and there is a confirmed case in your child's class, you need to be prepared for quarantining your child for 10 days. That is the reality. That is the outcome of a student not wearing a mask in class. So just kind of process that and think through the situations. We were talking about this as part of the admin team, and I'm trying to work through it as a parent too, because I am a working parent and I have 2 kids that go here. My situation is that I have grandparents that can watch my students. So it doesn't affect me the way it might affect a working parent who has no backup option, or maybe a single parent who, there are so many different situations. You really need to think about what's good for your family and what is going to be realistic for your family. We, as always, will always take the health and safety of our kids and our faculty and staff to be the most important thing that we do. That is, if we can't do anything safely, then it's not worth doing. So we're trying our best to make decisions that are good for your child. And I think that if you're a returning family, how last year went. You saw us in 102 degrees wearing our masks outside in the car line. That we would have rather not done that, and that we did it because we wanted everybody to be safe. And so I think we have some good established relationships here, and new families, you will know that we tend to make, I think, pretty good decisions, weighing everything that's out there, and know that we have resources too, like the Florida Council of Independent Schools and other resources that help us inform our decisions. So that's that. And now I see 23 chats in the bottom. So I'm just gonna, I don't know who's writing all the questions, but I'm gonna keep going. And I think we're doing actually really well with timing. So after that, we just want to say a big thank you. This is not in my notes to say, but just so you know what kind of growth our school has been going through. I think you probably have heard that there are a lot of people moving to Tampa, and that there are a lot more resources for families. We have grown so much this year, and it's really wonderful. when I first got here 3 years ago, I've completed 3 years, we had about 220 students. The year after that, we had about 240. Last year, we had about 260. This year, I am still processing applications, and we're well on our way to having over 280. So it's been a busy summer, and we've all been so grateful. And I know we have a ton of new families, just like we had a ton of new families last year. So we are really thankful that you've made the decision to bring your child to Bayshore Christian School or stay at Bayshore Christian School and trusting us. For giving of your time and of your resources. We have amazing parent volunteers. We will have volunteer opportunities throughout the year. We can't wait to see you. You are partners with us in your child's education, and thank you for doing that. We're going to have an awesome year, and go Faith Warriors. So there you go. Okay, so I am going to peruse of the chats and see if we have anything that needs to be addressed. But in the meantime, if anybody wants to ask any questions, feel free to unmute.
Bye, Miss Maddie.
Read.
Oh, Reed. I've missed you, Reed. I'm muting you, Reed. Love you, dear. Okay. So
Hey, Maddie, my phone's about to die. It was super
Okay.
fun. I just had a quick question. I put it in the chat.
okay.
I was just wondering because my whole family just had COVID, lovely, and we have antibodies. So does that affect if we have to quarantine or anything?
That will be in the procedures. That will be a part of that procedure. There will be a specific procedure for people who have had COVID and who have had it within a time frame. So you'll be covered.
And Stephanie, yes, and Stephanie, I responded to you specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. That's the thing about this year and this particular situation. We have people who have been immunized, people who haven't been immunized, people who want to wear masks and people who don't want to wear masks, and everybody in between. And there's no way that our one policy can address every possible situation. So we're really trying to, I would say, Ms. Humanansky and our admin team, we've really been all working together to make sure that we kind of cover everything and hopefully come up with a plan that doesn't necessarily make people happy, because it's okay to make decisions that are safe if they don't make people happy, but we take your feedback into consideration and trying to do the right thing for everybody. So look at all these faces. I miss you guys.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey.
How did the doctor's note policy work, especially for the preschoolers? Because like if they have a fever, you want to keep them home, but the doctors won't even see them for just a fever.
And what we're doing is asking the physician to make the decision. So again, this goes back to kind of the, everything being different for every situation. Sometimes kids don't get fevers when they have COVID. Sometimes they do. If you call your pediatrician and they say, okay, here's the situation, my child has a fever, what do you want to do? And they say, no, you're fine. Then they can fax us a note, they can email a note, but you've done the job in contacting the physician. And those are the things we'll have to work out, honestly. I mean, the reality is that preschool kids get sick a lot, usually because they're younger and they haven't developed that immunity. We're very fortunate to have some great resources among even our families in the world of pediatrics. So we have some resources that we can kind of bounce ideas off of. We know that parents have to work. So there's that line, trying to make sure that you can work and that we're still providing the services that you're paying us to provide you. At the same time, we don't want to put anybody at risk. So that I think will be covered pretty well in the documents that you'll get. But again, when that situation arises, we'll talk about it. We'll work through it. At the very end of last year, it was really hard for parents. We got to that point where, okay, he has a cough. Well, he's got to go to the doctor. "Ugh, I just went to the doctor, you know. I mean, that was just par for the course. I think it's a different world that we live in now. You know, 2 years ago, if it was a cough, it was a cough, you know, and maybe it was a virus or maybe it was something. But the reality is that sick policies around the world have changed because of COVID, and we're rolling with the punches, as we always do, right? Yes, if a student has a fever, they should still stay at home, correct. And then what would happen is, oh, sorry, I'll message you back. I see that you just messaged me, so I'll message you back individually. Looking through all the questions and seeing if,
Does the absence policy differ for preschool since they don't have like schoolwork for K2 and K3?
That's a great question. Is the absence policy different from, sorry, I was just gonna pull up our handbooks. Melanie?
It's still identified the same. It doesn't hold the weight that it does. And it truly doesn't hold the weight until middle and upper division. It's just to identify a pattern and to make sure we have documentation thereof. So we have, for legal purposes, we have to document absences, and therefore we just document it across K2 through 12th grade, but know that the weight of those absences, excused and unexcused, we don't want to get them into a pattern of going to Disney the week before spring break, because then you have spring break. We want to just make sure that we're not abusing those absences, but they don't have the weight. It's still marked excused or unexcused, but just again, it's diversified by the age.
And in kindergarten through 12th grade, school is compulsory. So yes, I think the heaviest weight is middle and high school, but also in elementary school, you are required to go to school for a certain number of hours. And if you miss a certain number of hours of that school, you cannot be promoted to the next grade level. So even though people are like, oh, it's just kindergarten. Yes, it's just kindergarten, but we as a school are required by the Department of Education to ensure that your child is getting an education. And in order to do that, he or she has to be at school. So let's see, I got another question. How do iPads work for lower school? Do they stay at school? Great question. So the younger classes usually keep them at school. Kindergarten, first grade, and probably second grade. Usually those stay at school. And they're really only used to supplement, you know, here and there what the children are doing in the classroom. I had a third grader last year. He brought it home during the week, but not on the weekends. So it stayed at school on the weekends because they didn't have homework usually assigned on the weekends. So I think it varies by grade, but in kindergarten, you should not be worried about bringing an iPad home. It will stay at school. Great question. All right, looking back, talked about before school care. All right, any other questions, guys? It's been so great to see some of your smiling faces. We've really missed you guys over the summer. Yes, can lower division get, yes. So chair bags are provided for all students in K2 through kindergarten. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's the case, right? K2 through kindergarten. You do not need to purchase a backpack. We have custom-made chair bags that fit right over the chairs in the classroom, so they take up a lot less room. First grade and up, they will purchase backpacks. So yes, Brookie will get one. I mean, she'll be able to have her book bag. She'll be able to buy a big girl backpack, which I'm sure.
Thank you. That's what she's most concerned about.
I know she does. Is
You
it
know.
unicorns? Is it going to be rainbows? What's it going to be?
Exactly. It's one of the two.
One of the two. Thank you. So chair bags, Lance, chair bags are just for the older kids. I mean, sorry, the younger kids. And that's just something that we provide. So you don't have to worry about that. Brandon and Emma can still have their book bags.
Patty, I'm going to clarify a question that was earlier. So before school care charges from 7 to 7:45, and all before school care will be in the gym with adults who will monitor those children. From 7:45 to 8, there's not a charge, just because we know that parents are working to drop off by that 8 o'clock, 8:15 bell. So there's not a charge, but they still go to before school care between 7:45 and 8. And then at 8 o'clock, they will be directed and walked to their child's, to their actual homeroom classroom. So I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. 7 to 7:45 is charged, 7:45 to 8 is not. And then they go to the classroom.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Maddie, do we need to send, do we need to use 2 different lunch bags this year, like we did last year?
I don't think so. No, we haven't talked about that. Yeah, just one will be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, baby. So for sporadic after school care, I will probably create a different form for that. Really, how we've done the drop-in after school care is after the week is over, we take the attendance records and then I bill after the fact. So you don't really necessarily sign up for it. But we probably will have you sign like a form that says, I have read the after school policies, since if you will be utilizing it. I've been working so hard on getting all of our new families in here. I haven't really focused on the forms for before and after school care. So that's next up. That's my next project. All right. Any other questions? And Jason, I see your questions and I'm going to email you. Okay. All right. You guys, it's been really wonderful seeing you all again. Please make sure to contact us. If Shayna, do you have a question? I saw you unmuted yourself. I didn't want to cut you off.
I do, but I can just, I'm not going to hold everybody up. I can just ask you privately after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. You can text me or call me anytime. All right, guys. Good to see you. Have a great evening, and we will plan on seeing you soon. Be on the lookout for emails about the upcoming events and more details, and make sure to reach out. Okay. Bye, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Bye,
great-
everyone.
Bye. Bye, Brooklyn.
Hey,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
in the past,
Yes.
have you, like with physicians, have you easily been able to get doctor's notes, or like if the doctor doesn't need to see the child, like if they don't think it's necessary, will they typically, I'm kind of concerned with that. I know.
Yeah.
So my son, sees,
Two.
yes, and he sees a particular doctor that is more for high risk type kids. So they're not seeing anybody in the
Gotcha.
office that has COVID-like symptoms.
Sure. Okay.
So that's kind of a little bit of a concern for
Sure.
me.
Sure.
And I know this is kind of an individual based like
Right.
issue.
Well, what I would do if I were you, I would maybe contact the office and ask them what you can do as a parent. You know, here he's starting at this new school. Here is their policy. Here's what they're doing. What can we do? Because sometimes doctors will email us. Sometimes doctors will fax us a note. And okay. Sorry, we have a parent who's a physician who's chiming in with, thank you, Debbie. Speak to not, she says not to speak for all doctors, but we can write excuses for children if seen via telehealth. So that's something to consider. They might have an app or something that they use, but it varies by doctor's office. So I would say contact them and see what they recommend, and then we can be in talks about that. You know, we have to understand that some doctors' offices may be different as well. And we just might have to have an open conversation about it. We're willing to work and we're willing to, oh, gotcha. I see Melanie. She said,
I not to be a total pain, but I work with like I am a nurse practitioner and I work with
Mhm.
pediatricians who will not see sick kids. So if,
Right.
for example, you send my child home because she threw up but doesn't have a fever,
Mhm.
they won't see her. And like, say she's fever free, hasn't thrown up for 24 hours,
Mhm.
and I know she's fine.
Mhm.
I'm still required to get a doctor's note. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then I
Yeah.
have to pay for them to see her.
I know, I'm a parent too. And I vividly remember having strong feelings last year when I was like, I know my kid's fine. But the reality is we are responsible as a school to provide the safest environment we can. So let's talk about it. Let's figure out what their physician will do and won't do. And let's go from there. You know,
Right.
we're on your side. We want your kids here too. We really would rather this year just be super easy and not have to enforce all these things that are really particular and inconvenient for parents. We know.
Right.
But we're trying to kind of run that line. So I would say, you know, if your physician won't write something for return to school, I would encourage you to go to maybe an urgent care clinic, reach out to somebody who is not your child's physician. You know, I mean, I would trying to like, you know, be a little bit flexible in my mind as a parent. I'm trying to think what I would do if my child's pediatrician wouldn't write a note.
And this is, and I think that we can speak about this further because I don't want to hold everybody.
Well, there's a lot of people on here, so apparently they're very interested in what we're saying.
Yeah, I know. I just like, I thought that I was getting the tail end of it, but then I just saw there were a bunch of people on.
Yeah.
So I will reach out to our physicians since they are not seeing any children with any type of COVID type.
See what they say. If they do the telehealth thing, that would be great, but go ahead. Sorry. I felt like I was interrupting you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you weren't. So I'll just see if they would be open to, you know, writing notes after I give them like the symptoms, because I always call them if there are any symptoms.
Right.
And then we'll go from there and I'll just communicate with you guys later.
Okay, that sounds good. We definitely want to partner with you. We know that every family situation is different. Every, you know, family's work situation is different. Amy, you asked a good question. After the 3 to 5 non-excused tardies or absences, what happened? What about planned vacation? So that is where a pre-approved absence form comes into play, because we know that there are things that come up in families' lives. And so the pre-approved absence form is going to be important just so we know ahead of time. You know, you're not going to be kicked out of school for going on a family vacation. I can promise you that. These things happen, but we want to just know about that ahead of time. And oops, I just let a high schooler in, sorry. And so we are, now correct me if I'm wrong, admin team, that it would still be, if it was pre-approved, it would still be unexcused, correct? Because it's not a doctor. So it would be listed as unexcused, but I mean, you'll get an automated email, you know, when something happens. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world. The good thing about knowing things ahead of time and kind of having that pre-approved absence form is that our teachers can plan for it and they can provide work or homework or what have you.
Natalie and Jonathan.
For that, in preparation for that. So that is something that you can contact the office about, and we'll have a form for you. Yes, thank you, Lance. Depending on your insurance, you may be able to do telehealth with a different provider or urgent care. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I think at this point, we've all either had it or known somebody who's had it. So I think in every situation, it's been different for everybody else. So we'll just have to work together this year and partner together.
I'm sorry, I just have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
As far as the doctor notes go, specifically just for sickness. So like if my kid is sent home because she bonked her head and she's not feeling well, or I still need to get a doctor's note because she bonked her head on the playground.
No, if it's an injury related thing, that would not be, that's not an illness. So we would not exclude for that. If If she just threw up out of nowhere, then that would be something different. But if she, yeah, obviously if she bonked her head and she threw up, then that probably means she has a concussion. So we would call you and have you come pick her up. But no, she wouldn't be excluded for that.
Okay.
All right. Well, it is about time for our middle and high school event. So I'm going to close this out and we will see you guys soon. Okay, take care. Have a great
Bye,
night.
Maddie. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maddie.